dun 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 dun, dun thing or something. Juche Gang News, Volume 8, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. IRGC targets enemy vessel. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has announced that its forces carried out the retaliatory strikes against enemy vessels, the headquarters of the 5th Fleet in Bahrain, and a regional American airbase, following 2 acts of U.S. aggression targeting Iranian assets. A lot of people don't like Discord, and I respect that. In a statement released by Public Relations Office on Wednesday, the IRGC said the developments began late at night when an Iranian oil tanker was struck near the Strait of Hormuz. According to the statement, late last night, the aggressive U.S. military struck the Iranian oil tanker with an aerial projectile in the vicinity of the Strait of Hormuz, causing damage to the vessel's engine room. The IRGC said the incident prompted a response by its naval forces. In response to this aggression and violation of the regulations governing the Strait of Hormuz, the American Zionist enemy vessel, named Pena, was targeted by missiles launched by the IRGC Navy. The Corps said. The statement went on to describe a second act of aggression. In a renewed act of aggression, the enemy targeted an IRGC communications tower in the southern part of Keshm Island with aerial projectiles. The IRGC force said the attack was followed by retaliatory operations carried out by the Aerospace Force. In response to this aggression, their air and helicopter base, stationed in one of the countries of the region, as well as the headquarters of the U.S. 5th Fleet, were subjected to missile and drone attacks by the IRGC Aerospace Force. 50 stream streak. Holy shit, Chiclez. Let's go. Thank you. Yeah. If you have the Aragachi emotes, those would be appropriate right now. There's also a Mirandi emote where he's kind of going. That would also work right now. Seems like Iran is still in control of the situation. Even controlling still, of course, the ladder of escalation. Don't worry, you can keep those emotes coming because... Excuse me. Because it'll go along with this one as well. Enemy forced to accept new Iranian rules. Everyone keeps saying there are ads on Twitch, but I don't pay for Twitch and haven't gotten one ad. But I am South African. Might that make a difference? I don't know. Maybe. Country law. I think country's laws can affect that. But it's a good question. I'm not sure. Enemy forced to accept new Iranian rules. Uh-oh. Some countries don't get ads. Okay. No, I get ads. Since I got a sponsor, since I got the partnership, I've actually gotten way more money for ads than I have been getting previously, I will say. I mean, it's nothing worth fucking sneezing at, but still, please support the stream because it relies entirely on your support, but it went from going like... It went from getting 1 cent per fucking day for like ads to getting like $5 per day for ads. Or so. So that's slightly better. But obviously that still don't, that still don't help that much. So still your subscriptions and gift subs and all the things are still much appreciated and necessary. If your Twitch ad blocker is broken, you can VPN to Lithuania. Yes, not that I would condone such a thing. As a partner here, watch all of the ads for the U.S. military. Enemy forced to accept new Iranian rules. The enemy is... I will watch ads for you, Lair. No, someone give sub Princess Chi-Chi a sub. Come on. We don't want to make Chi-Chi watch ads. The enemy is forced to accept the new rules that the Iranian nation and the armed forces have imposed on the battlefield, especially in the realm of smart management and control. Oh, damn, Maddie, thank you so much for gifting one to the Princess Chi-Chi. Appreciate it. There you go. No more ads for you. Very much appreciate that. The Armed Forces General Staff and Qatem Al Anyiba Central Headquarters issued a joint statement vowing that the resistance will continue until complete destruction of the conspiracies of arrogant powers and the expulsion of foreign forces from West Asia and the liberation of Al-Quds through the destruction of the Israeli regime. Said the news. The presence of the people in the streets remained the backbone of the battlefield, the stronghold of diplomacy, and the essential factor in achieving complete and final victory, the IRGC said, referring to more than 90 consecutive nights of rallies across the country to support the Iranian leadership and the armed forces. The army added that the profound bond between the political and intellectual school of Imam Khomeini and the legacy of the martyred leader would serve as a lasting treasure for the nation in facing future challenges. The armed forces, under the leadership of Commander-in-Chief Ayatollah Sayyid Mujtaba Khamenei, will defend the ideals of the Islamic Revolution and the nation's integrity to the death, the General Staff said. The American and Zionist enemies will have no choice but to surrender before the divine will of the armed forces and the aware and vigilant nation, the statement added. Press TV. Okay, have a good sleep, Mel May. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate seeing you in chat. Here we got one from Palestine Chronicle. Hezbollah repels Israeli advance in Hadassah. Hezbollah announced a series of operations against Israeli occupation forces in southern Lebanon on Tuesday, stating that it forced an Israeli force to retreat from the town of Hadassah. A group also said that it destroyed military vehicles and tanks in the nearby combat zone. The Lebanese health authorities reported a sharp rise in casualties from Israeli attacks near a hospital in Tyre. According to the Hezbollah fighters, targeted multiple Israeli military vehicles near Zatar al-Shaikh and Ababil attacked drones throughout the morning. Hezbollah forces an Israeli unit to withdraw from Hadassah after destroying military vehicles and targeting troop concentrations. Lebanon's health ministry said 4 people were killed and 127 wounded in the Israeli attack near Jebel Emel Hospital. Israeli media acknowledged growing difficulties in countering Hezbollah's explosive drones, which continue to inflict losses on Israeli forces. In this picture right here, show you it up on here. This picture right here, if you look, that's what it looks like their FPV drones in use look like, right there. Right, socialist headlines. We've got this one. I posted kind of the whole thing because it was so good. This is from Grandma News in Cuba. The stoicism of a hero. Not many people have the privilege, the health, the stoicism. And if anyone wishes, they can also add the quintessentially Cuban stubbornness to reach 95 years of life. It is undeniably a blessing. And not just any 95 years, 9.5 decades with his foot firmly planted in the stirrup, the flames beneath his horse's flanks, and his machete wielded like Macchio, like Gomez. Even a childhood, even a school child, knows that Raoul, a man who, I cannot help but say it, in all public settings where I've seen him face to face with the people, who the common folk usually end up carrying children, chatting witty nilly with them, as he used to do since the decisive days of the Sierra. There's still a photo of him crouching in front of a peasant girl, making a tender history, or giving them one of the pens that he always used to give away, as he did with little Densbell and Guillebal on the southern coast of Las Dunas, so that you can write a letter to Grandpa Fidel when you learn to write, quote unquote. That also has been Raoul, the man always by Fidel's side, and vice versa. The young man who, with mature maturity, shouldered all the hardships and the inclemencies of the guerrilla struggle. I don't know if anyone has ever asked themselves this question or considered it, but if any man resolved never to fail the commander in chief, because to do so would have been to fail all of Cuba, history, Lena, Angel, and himself, that man was and remains him.
Juche is what's happening on this planet, y'all.
Yo, Strin, thank you so much for the gift sub to Autistic Baddie. Appreciate that. That's why he faced the Moncada attack head on. And he did, with everything he had. The attack on Moncada, the subsequent imprisonment, Mexico, the cramped headquarters of that yacht, shared with 81 other courageous men, the mangroves of Las Coloradas, Algeria de Piro, Cinco Palmas, the enemy's might deep in the mountains, the second front that Fidel placed in his hands, and which he transformed into a model territory, a prelude to what was to come. I truly don't know in how many countries the population evokes such admiration, respect, affection, and genuine identification with high-ranking military figures. I only know that Raoul, past, present, and future generations, will always be remembered as the beloved minister of the Revolutionary Armed Forces, minister of the people, with an innate martial spirit and virtuously and undeniable human sensitivity, a truly Cuban wit, and a charisma impervious to attacks, like the latest one, launched against him by the disarmed and heartless forces of the empire that constantly loses its footing. A footing only for those who are a little higher up, possess what a true man needs to fear nothing, never lower his sword, and never be defeated. Happy birthday, Raul. Any happy birthday Raúls in chat? Happy birthday, Raul Castro. 95 years old. He will still fight, indeed. Even if he dies of old age, he will die a martyr. Because he has fought his entire life against the US Empire. Every waking moment, essentially. Alright, I've got one here from you for Lao. This is Lao Kayon donates 27 tons of fertilizer. Can you imagine? What kind of corporation does that in capitalism? What kind of company? The Lao Kayon Mining Company Limited has donated 27 tons of high quality compound fertilizer, valued at 900 million kip, to residents across 7 villages within its project area of Thakek district, Kumun province. The handover ceremony took place on the 3rd of June 2026, aimed at supporting the wet season agricultural production and boosting crop yields. The beneficiary communities include the villages of Lamalad, Kokhed, Yanghom, Thagnam, Thadio, Nongfu, and Nongmiang. The event was attended by Mr. Somvich Vongtiath, head of the Kumon Provincial Department of Industry and Commerce, alongside relevant provincial and district official leaders. Mr. Wang Bing, deputy manager of the director of the Lao Kaiyuan Mining Company Limited, stated that the company has consistently adhered to its core philosophy of joint development, shared benefits, and mutual growth. He emphasized that the company's ongoing commitment to corporate social responsibility and its continuous collaboration with local authorities to drive community development. Since commencing operations in Kumun province, the company has played a pivotal role in local socio-economic development. To date, Lao Kaiyuan has contributed over US $200 million US in taxes and duties to the Lao government, generated employment for more than 10,000 workers, and invested over 11 million in local social development projects. This fertilizer donation is another significant initiative, demonstrating our commitment to promoting agricultural production, generating income for local residents, and building strong, sustainable communities, Mr. Wang said. He further reassured stakeholders that the company would continue to invest in public infrastructure, rural development, and agricultural livelihood programs to improve the quality of the life of residents in the project area and the neighboring communities. KPL. Arberlern, good to see you.
But Larry, that's capitalism. It's a market.
No, you're wrong. Shut the hell up. I'm sorry. I just could hear like one of those callers that called into collective earlier. Literally, one of them was saying that about China and the market, and I just like was thinking of that as I was reading that. Accelerate rental housing development. This is from Vietnam. I'm making all of the dogmatists seethe today with my news choices. Prime Minister Lee Min-hyung on June 1st chaired the working session of Haiphong with leaders of the 5 localities in the northern key economic region: Haiphong, Quai Ninh, Bac Ninh, and Ninh and Hung Yen, to implement the direction and the development of rental housing from Party General Secretary and State President Tao Lam. Oh my god! Why aren't they doing away with commodities? And money? I don't get it. All right, and this last piece here I got, or sorry, no, second last piece. The second last piece I got here, this is for all of those who say, why doesn't China do more like medical doctor shit like Cuba does? Maybe you should look into what China does more often. For example, Chinese medical expert team arrives in DRC. A Chinese anti-epidemic medical expert team arrived in Kinshasa, the capital of Democratic Republic of Congo, on Tuesday for a 3-month mission to support the Central African country's response to the Ebola outbreak. Luku Malio Maris, the representative of the DRC Ministry of Health, welcomed the team at the airport. saying that China's dispatch of the medical experts represents timely and strong support for the Congolese government and the people. Whenever the DRC faces major public health challenges, China has consistently extended timely assistance, he said, adding that he looks forward to the mission further strengthening the country's epidemic prevention, control, and treatment capacities, and helping to bring an outbreak under control as soon as possible. Lu Ming, head of the Chinese expert team, said the team would begin work promptly in line with the Congolese side's needs and would cooperate with local medical and disease control institutions to provide support in epidemic assessment, case management, and other areas. He added that the team would work closely with the Congolese side to safeguard people's lives and health, contributing China's expertise to helping to DRC control the outbreak at the early stage. On May 15th, the DRC officially confirmed its 17th Ebola outbreak since 1976. 2 days later, the World Health Organization declared the outbreak a public emergency of international concern. China's National Health Commission announced on Monday the decision to send a medical expert team to support the DRC's Ebola control efforts. The first group consists of 5 members with extensive experience in epidemic control, according to the Commission. They will also share practical response experience tailored to the local conditions to help enhance the DRC's capacity for Ebola prevention, control, and treatment. CGTN. Socialist internationalism. Transfox Girl, I feel you completely. They're trying to do the same thing to the Canadian system all the time and succeeding. Whenever I tell people how much help they send, they always say, what's their motive? Socialist internationalism is their motive, is how I would respond to that, I guess. Socialist internationalism, weakening imperialism, that sort of thing. Okay, we got one last thing here from DPRK. Political and cultural events at party schools. The Central Cadres Training School of the Workers' Party of Korea and party schools in Pyongyang and provinces had various political and cultural events on the occasion of the 80th founding anniversary. Commemorative meetings were held at the relevant units. Yeah, dental isn't covered here. Present there were officials of the Central Committee of the WPK, ministries, and national agencies, party and administrative officials in Pyongyang and each province, and the teaching staff and students of the party schools. They noted that in his immortal classic works such as on further improving the work of the training party cadres in conformity with the requirements of modeling the entire party, the whole society on Kim Il-sungism, Kim Jong-ilism, the respected comrade Kim Jong-un provided guidance for strengthening the work of training party cadres and advanced the 5-point party building orientation in the new era to usher in a heyday of strengthening the WPK. Juche Julia, welcome in. Chat was just telling me how excited they were to hear what happens next in Yodak. They called upon all the teaching staff. They called upon all the teaching staff and students to display their extraordinary revolutionary enthusiasm in the education, scientific research, and study, and thus live up to the great expectation of the party's central committee with loyalty. Thank Juche, or something. God help Juche, or wait, help us, Juche. Allow me to pray to Juche. Am I doing this right? Tell me when I'm doing this right. For Juche's sake. That was it. For Juche's sake. Yeah, that was it. Thank you. For Juche's sake. Sun gun! You stub your toe and you just go sun gun. You ever do that? You stub your toe real hard and you just go sun gun! That's how this character behaves, apparently. See, my version of this is far superior. Oh, for the love of Lenin. See, I prefer to invoke like a Che Guevara thing and say, Dad, Papa Stalin. By the way, you can check me on this. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but I'm paraphrasing Che Guevara here when he said, I knelt before the great mourn picture of Papa Stalin, of the great comrade Stalin. And I swore to him that I would see these capitalist octopuses annihilated. That's a Che Guevara quote. He also said, no one mustn't tell me not to study Stalin. I studied Stalin when it was very bad to study Stalin. And I will continue to study him. That's another Che Guevara quote. Yeah, no one must tell me not to read Stalin. I love that. That's a banger one. Yep, that's true. He was a Stalinist. So there we go. The teaching staff. Oh yeah, there were exhibitions on the education science achievements and teaching, and they celebrated the 80th founding anniversary of a school for teaching actual political science. And there you go, comrades. There's the news. If you type !Canva, you can get a link for yourself to the Leaping Larry newsletter.